Hi, I'm Todd Jones, host of the podcast Press Box Access. Here's a clip from my interview with Christine Brennan. Hear how Christine broke into the male-dominated business of sports writing. Growing up, you played a lot of sports, though, right? And growing up in Toledo, Ohio. Tell me a little bit about sports in your youth and how you even got into sports writing.
You know, it was a different time. Certainly, Title IX had just been signed by Richard Nixon, June of '72, almost the 50th anniversary now coming up. But I had my own personal Title IX. I had my dad, my father, Jim Brennan, businessman and a former football player. He played high school football at Hyde Park High School in Chicago, and then played for a year at Drake, offensive and defensive lineman, before he went into the Army at the end of World War II. And so I was also a shot putter and a high school shot putter. And so, you know, he loves sports, and I'm the oldest of 4 kids, Todd, and my mom jokes I was born size 6X and kept right on growing. As I said, I'm basically like 5'11", 5'11 and a half, I guess I am now. And so I was tall and athletic and wanted to play sports. And back then, a lot of parents told their daughters no.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, they really
right.
did.
In the 60s, girls didn't play sports,
this.
right?
No way.
Yeah.
No way. And my mom and dad said yes. And I couldn't wait till my dad would get home, and I'd throw the baseball with him and play catch, and he got me a mitt. And most girls wanted dolls when they turned, 8, and I had some dolls, but I wanted a baseball mitt. My dad and mom just went out and got it for me. And I never, the term "throw like a girl" is so ridiculous because, of course, now we're teaching millions of girls, generations of girls, to throw the ball properly. So I guess it's a compliment. But back in the day, it wasn't a compliment. It was that pushing motion, but I never threw like a girl. My dad taught me how to cock my arm and go behind my ear and throw the ball. So that was, how lucky was I to have these parents who were so comfortable in their skin that they
Encouraged you, right?
That they didn't mind what were the neighbors saying about what's going on in the Brennan household. Who cares? My dad went out and got a bat, invited all the kids over, and we had baseball games every weekend, and boys and girls. And so that really was my background, which then led to being a 6-sport athlete at Ottawa Hills High School. Not because I was such a great athlete, but back then girls didn't specialize because people really didn't care about girls' sports in terms of college opportunities. Those were just beginning. And so, but mostly basketball and softball, tennis, field hockey, those were some of my big ones in high school.
It's one thing to play sports, and even then that was revolutionary for women to be playing sports at a young age. But to play it, but to write about it, I think one time you told me that you used to listen to the Tigers radio games and write about the games when you were a kid. Is that right?
That is true. Even not even the major league level, the Toledo Mud Hens, the AAA team, of course, for the Tigers, as you know. And we had season tickets for the Mud Hens. My dad was the Pied Piper with season tickets with Michigan football, and we looked north in Toledo. Obviously, we were right there on the line. And as Michigan games and Tigers, but Toledo Mud Hens were huge for us. And so I listened to an entire season of Toledo Mud Hens games on the radio, keeping score and writing up little stories. And I was like 10 years old. And I dare say not only was no girl in America doing that in the late 60s, probably very few boys were doing that. So that's how into this I was. And I remember my dad walking through the living room once, and that's where I had the radio for and I was probably writing some little story up on, just a notebook paper. And he kind of looked, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just, writing up about, Hens just scored a couple runs, and I'm writing that." Even he was kind of, my biggest supporter was kind of like, "Okay, sure." Yeah,
well, I gotta admit, I had that same response from my own parents. I used to play this game, APBA. It was a dice game, baseball.
Oh, yeah.
And you had these cards, and you'd play the 75 Reds would play the 61 Yankees. And I had a notebook, and I would write game summaries after every game, and I kept stats, and I made trades to help the Reds, but I would write these little summaries, and my parents would walk by and like, "Oh, this geek."
Well, and by the way, the Reds didn't need much help in '75 and '76. Yeah, even though we were up north, absolutely, I would get those games on the radio, and it was Marty Brennan, right? Was doing all and listen to those amazing series with the Reds playing the Dodgers. Remember those August days when the Dodgers had their last
doubleheaders, 55,000. Yes.
Oh my God! And that big red machine was amazing. But yeah, we even had, I'm sure you remember the football where it would vibrate. And you'd
the field,
and you'd have them pass.
Worst passer ever. The guy could not complete a pass.
Well, and I'm sure you had a lot of guys who were just going in circles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But we did all of that. We did all those games and all the kind of the baseball dice thing. My sister, I have two sisters and a brother. My brother especially is 4 years younger, and so when he got old enough, we couldn't get enough of that. And trading baseball cards and also sending baseball cards to teams to get them autographed. Hank Aaron passed away recently as we're talking now, and those signed baseball cards, because almost always the players would send them back signed, which was really cool.